Everybody has a story. Professional artist, nationally acclaimed guitarist, professional wrestler fighting cancer. From shy child to street performer, producing music in the pandemic. The king of Carytown. Meet the most interesting people in Central Virginia. I Have a Story with Greg McQuade.
This is so cool.
Unbelievable.
Real exciting.
And the crowd goes wild. Ha!
Hello, I'm Greg McQuade. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Though I know many of you didn't get to have the type of gathering that you were accustomed to this year, still, let me tell you what I am thankful for. Now, despite all of the hardships of 2020, I was able to meet and tell the stories of dozens of Central Virginians with unique talents and fascinating histories. Let's start on a high note with an eccentric inventor who has been practicing social distancing for decades. But that has not stopped his ideas from taking flight.
We're out in the middle of nowhere in Hanover County.
It's one of the most interesting places you'll never visit.
This is no gallery. No, people don't even come here.
Cliff Earl spends his days working alone.
No, in fact, very few people ever come here.
And that's just the way he likes it.
You ready for fire?
It's not that the 74-year-old self-described loner avoids people.
Are you getting any sparks yet?
Cliff
There's good ones.
is just too busy to socialize.
This is my safe place. I come out here all the time.
Part sculpturist,
Yeah.
part mad scientist.
When I thought this up, I didn't just see that little sketch. I could see it from above and below, and this end and that end. It's magic. So these are going to go back here.
The Northern Virginia native has been building his one-of-a-kind blimps, balloons, and biplanes for half a century.
Well, this is a little more elaborate because it's got the three figures and the dog.
His audience watches the master carver and welder in rapt attention.
I don't think I could have a job, or if I ever got to thinking it was a job, I wouldn't do it.
While the artist largely stands stationary, his subjects evoke motion.
I literally, inside my head, see a movie.
Man has conquered the heavens.
Cliff's inspiration, the 1965 film Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines.
I'm always looking to try to find a new image or a new design.
Some pieces pass from one generation to the next as heirlooms.
I think that's one of those rewarding things. It means right much.
The bachelor finds beauty in the past.
I think I was born in the wrong age, truly. Much better suited to have been born back in the teens or first part of the 20th century.
This Renaissance man went green a long time ago.
This is a wheel off of a baby buggy, the fender off of a baby buggy. I reuse everything. I keep everything. You can see, look.
Recycling junk, his trademark.
Here's an oil can that becomes a birdhouse. It's not finished.
His artwork prompts grins from ear to ear.
They get closer, and you can see their smiles brighten up. They get really entranced with these things. They look at it as a child would almost.
But there are fewer smiles these days from the artist himself.
There we go.
The man who has perfected social distancing for 50 years
There's no way of getting that feeling back.
laments what the coronavirus is having on business.
I'm sad about it.
Arts in the Park, a springtime tradition where Cliff has been showcasing his work since the early 70s, was canceled.
I'm a little sad personally for the artists that I know.
Till next year, Cliff Earl will build his inventory in the comfort of quarantining.
I rarely even sign them. This one, I don't know if this is signed or not. It might be. Is it?
Hoping for brighter days ahead.
Nostalgic, whimsical. They're fun. People like them. I like doing them and people enjoy them.
Surrounded by artwork that's one of a kind.
I've gotten, over the years, pretty good at it.
Just like the man who created it.
I think I'm very lucky to have found something that I can make a little bit of a living at that's fun for me to do.
As the coronavirus caused a health and economic crisis across the Commonwealth, an unlikely friendship took off, and a community in need got some help from above.
You say he was 10 minutes out?
When you're waiting for someone special to arrive,
This is actually for real.
the last few minutes always seem to take the longest.
Oh my gosh, my heart is beating 50 miles an hour. It's just an incredible day.
For Linda Hudgens, this moment is like Christmas Eve.
Yes, it is, even better.
Linda scans the skies for her Santa,
There it is.
not flying a sleigh, but a Cessna.
Here he comes.
A family reunion
My heart's beating faster and faster.
or military homecoming, this is not.
This is just an unbelievable story.
Griffin Phillips Leisman is flying a mission from the heart. 100 miles from Harrisonburg to Chesterfield.
Good morning.
Yay!
This new friendship started with a phone call to St. Matthias Episcopal Church. Linda didn't believe the stranger on the line.
He said, you know, I'd like to bring food. And I'm like, wait, what?
Griffin promised a donation of supplies for the church's stressed food pantry.
The first call was quite interesting. They weren't sure if we were either pranking them or joking.
A godsend out of thin air.
I don't know how he found us. I have no idea. He just picked us.
Virginia Airfeed, that is our organization that we created.
Griffin would fly a plane load of nourishment.
He said, well, I think about 460 pounds of food. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
You're gonna find flour in here and jellos and things like that.
We can go anywhere in the state and we can get there in 2 hours. So it's just really a time-effective process.
What sets this donor apart from others? His age.
When he told me he was 16, I couldn't even speak for a minute.
Yes, when most teens are learning to parallel park, Griffin files his flight plan.
I'll tell you, it was quite a trip today.
I bet.
It was
Beautiful day, though.
yeah, beautiful but quite bumpy.
The 10th grader in ROTC at Harrisonburg High School raised $2,000 and started shopping.
We mostly collected canned goods. We have canned fruits, canned vegetables.
Flying for just a year and a half, Griffin wanted to do his part combating COVID-19.
I believe in service as the greatest virtue.
There is no limit to what Griffin can do.
Friend and flight instructor Cindy Feerick says her student is wise beyond his years.
All right, thank you, sir.
People are struggling.
Thank you.
People are struggling emotionally, physically, you know, in so many ways. And so hopefully this can be some kind of inspiration for people to say, how can I help?
At the food pantry, Griffin's generosity is filling depleted shelves and in turn, empty stomachs.
I think it says so much about his character. It shows his servant's heart, that he understands that we are all in this together and we are going to make it through together.
These fine individuals are in the thick of it, so I really expend all my gratitude towards them to feed the people of Chesterfield and around the area.
With his nonprofit taking off, Griffin's layover lasts just a few minutes. With so many hungry people to help, he needs to keep moving.
It's the biggest reason that we're doing this. I don't really see them as strangers, I see them as fellow Virginians.
This today is a blessing for us. It just came from up above.
Linda Hudgens knows good things come to those who wait.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Especially when it's a teen angel who is truly earning his wings.
It's just an amazing gift that he probably will never really understand the depth of what he's doing.
Professional wrestling is a world of good versus evil, baby faces versus heels, as they say. And as we now know, the outcomes of the matches are predetermined. But a Chesterfield woman who makes her living between the ropes is trying to give a sunset flip to that script. She's now involved in the feud of her life, and she says there will be no submission.
My home away from home, my salvation.
Pushing herself to the limit.
I always take care of myself. My workouts, critical.
While striving to be the best, fuels Erica Porter every workout.
There's just an energy that becomes infectious for yourself, and then you feel better.
The 45-year-old stays fit, not out of vanity, but simple survival.
You never know where life is going to take you. You never know.
Her career choice is demanding,
Top of the food chain.
and downright dangerous.
Incredibly athletic, incredibly grueling, but I loved every minute of it.
20 years ago, the producers of Women of Wrestling spotted the aspiring dancer at an audition.
And in that moment, I was like, oh my, this is great.
Good grab from behind. German suplex.
A few weeks later, Erica's alter ego was born.
Let me tell you Jungle Girl's motto, and in a nutshell, you'll know she is kill or be killed.
Jungle Girl started carving up opponents while carving her reputation.
After years of striving, Jungle Girl earned her place in history as the WOW champion of the world.
I mean, I went and like perched on the top rope, and it's just Jungle Girl came to life, and I was like, this is so cool. This is my job.
Surrounded by fans while in the spotlight can be intoxicating.
So I'm like kind of pinching myself as I'm going down. I'm like, this is the most unbelievable experience I've ever had in my entire life. If it ended tonight, this is so cool.
Her barefoot skills and signature sky-high jumps led to a championship belt.
When you're like stomping on people and slamming yourself on the ground, how can you not have an amazing day after that?
Erica tangles with some of sports and entertainment's toughest athletes.
Becky the farmer's daughter, Terry Gold, Havoc, and I've taken them all down.
But while standing on the top rope of her career,
I was having shortness of breath. I was having a cough that was lingering.
Erica would face her most difficult opponent, not in a ring, but a doctor's office.
So there's no remission for a stage 4 cancer patient.
Mentally, the cancer diagnosis was worse than a body slam.
I understand when people get to a point and say, I'm done. I'm done. It's overwhelming.
The breast cancer, which spread to her lungs and bones, is incurable.
My son had asked me, Mommy, can you promise me that you're not going to die? So I'll get emotional with it. So I said to him, there's no human that can promise that to anybody. The equalizer amongst all people is time. We don't know what that time is.
You can get the helmets out.
Cancer sidelines many patients.
You rule.
Not Erica.
Who's better than you?
Away from the raucous wrestling crowds.
Go lead, man. Be strong.
The married mother of one
Cam
is vowing to live fully while inspiring others.
Prove yourself right. Don't worry about anybody else. Prove yourself right.
Thank you.
Erica is a familiar face at River City Sportsplex.
Rock on.
Her son Carlo's lacrosse team is rallying around her.
So when you guys go out there and you play for one another. Be the best you can possibly be, not just for yourselves, for one another.
Each player is dedicating their season to Carlo's mom.
Lead by example, my friend.
While wearing a ribbon in solidarity.
When we found out about her diagnosis, we wanted to honor her.
Coach Wolf says his players,
let's go, what do we got?
Could not ask for a better role model.
Just a small token of what we can do for her, but we're gonna stand by her side every day. Go! We're gonna make sure she gets through this.
It's just an atomic gut punch.
Erica's husband, Carlo, a Henrico firefighter, marvels at his wife's determination.
We've been together 22 years. I'm constantly amazed at her ability to give of herself and make things bigger than herself.
I still am going back to fitness is a lifesaver.
During her cancer journey, Erica is drawing strength from giving back.
My challenge to people is to do what you love.
On October 1st, Erica launched the Endorphasm Foundation, named after the gym she founded in 2013.
The mission of the gym was to strip away the BS and get you closer to your soul.
Erica is committing herself to others.
Might not change the outcome of how many years, but wouldn't you want those years, no matter what they are, to be amazing? I know I do.
She believes physical training heals on the inside and out.
There are always going to be circumstances that are beyond our control, but how you react to those circumstances are well within our control.
Her nonprofit offers fitness classes to cancer patients free of charge.
I do believe that the foundation will be my legacy.
While prepping for the biggest match of her life.
And the greatest gift is giving to others.
Jungle Girl is determined not to let an illness pin her or anyone else down without a fight.
An opportunity came and I made the best of it. No regrets. No regrets. What a life I've had. Pretty incredible.
If you would like to learn more about Erica's foundation, we've put that information on our show website at WTVR.com. Heard of Death Row Records? Well, there are a number of inmates in our area who have stepped up to the microphone after finding a new beat behind bars. Now they are getting to enjoy a temporary escape from detention by singing songs of redemption.
When you're locked up, life can get you down. Every waking moment, a harsh reminder, freedom is non-existent. But inside Richmond's Justice Center, select inmates are taking note.
Dead in the water.
How music can provide a little liberty.
I went wrong. I've been drifting way too long.
Every one I've ever written definitely has, some truth and reality in it,
A small music studio provides inmates like Garland Carr a chance to express themselves and showcase their gifts.
I was all to pieces before you charged me at the door.
Everybody has some kind of value, you know what I mean?
The Southwest Virginia native, raised in Hanover County, is serving time for nonviolent drug offenses.
I can kind of get away sometimes outside, get a little space between me and some people, man. It's the music is always in my head,
The 38-year-old songwriter grew up listening to country music and Elvis.
Freedom win.
Singing is Garland's salvation.
I don't feel so free today.
I think we have to create our own redemption. We have to strive for our redemption, you know what I mean?
There is a lot of talent behind bars.
The music program was fostered by Dr. Sarah Scarborough.
Garland's talent is unbelievable. He should be winning a Grammy himself.
Somewhere there, that's a lower note.
The jail studio is grabbing ears.
Exactly.
Todd Speech Thomas from the group Arrested Development was so impressed, the singer and a film crew spent 10 days inside, working with and encouraging inmates to pursue their musical dreams. Their collaboration is the subject of a new documentary, 16 Bars.
Cause we civilly unrested, and because I'm black, I might get arrested. We lost one.
These are men that are behind bars, but they still have voices. There's something there that needs to be said to the world. And I want to help to bring that out.
Dr. Scarborough says the film humanizes inmates like Garland.
Yes, they're within the confines and the big cement walls, but once they can lock into that music and put their headphones on, they can escape for just a few minutes.
It kind of took for me to go through this to know what I truly am capable of.
Henrico native Devontae James is serving a stretch for dealing drugs. The 27-year-old credits music with soothing his pain on the inside.
And there's a lot of talented musicians. The power of music can overcome a lot of things, even these bars.
The guitarist yearns to change his ways by marching to another beat.
I now realize, though, it's not too late for me that this isn't what I want.
Devontae hopes that message resonates in 16 Bars.
It does something when you allow somebody to shine like that.
In Henrico, Sheriff Elisa Gregory wants people on the outside to know not every inmate is a hardened career criminal.
This isn't the best place, but there are some amazing people who have just made some bad decisions that end up behind these walls.
The world counted me out.
Beyond the lyrics and beats, Devontae and Garland hope the film shines light on the need to revamp the criminal justice system and break the revolving door of recidivism.
We're very hopeful on that, very optimistic.
Both men are paying close attention to bills tracking through Virginia's General Assembly.
But I do wake up every morning, man, you know, and I say a little prayer.
Prison is not an easy place to survive.
All right, so everybody get a piece of fish.
Dr. Sarah Scarborough is also the founder of Real Life.
Unfortunately, our society is really set up for failure for folks coming out of incarceration.
The nonprofit helps men and women released from jail or prison with temporary housing and job training.
Now, I'm not saying open all of the doors to the jails, but what I am saying is that 95% of people incarcerated in America will get released.
Sarah says 16 Bars is a timely portrait of just how difficult transitioning can be.
It's that I know I have something more to offer the world.
So when they get out, they keep that mindset. I think that we will see really amazing things.
If I could turn this ship around.
Yeah, I'm gonna earn my way and take my way out of this hole, man.
Ain't no end to the lengths I'd go.
When released in 2024, Garland Carr vows to write and record his new chapter. For this budding singer,
I wanna lay my burdens down.
making music is key to finding harmony in freedom.
The thing that keeps me going is the hope of a better future, you know, and I believe in it.
2020 saw uprisings across the country in the name of racial justice. Protesters filled the streets. On Richmond's Monument Avenue, all of the Confederate statues were removed, save one. As we speak, the giant sculpture of Robert E. Lee still stands. But if and when it does come down, some say a centuries-old secret will finally be revealed.
It's something that I never thought I would see here in Richmond. It's absolutely astonishing.
Dale Brumfield is soaking in the moment.
To me, it's jaw-dropping. I mean, tears in my eyes walking up here and looking at it.
The historian believes the Lee Monument's time is up and must come down.
None of them were put up to glorify a general. They were put up to show the blacks of the area who was still in charge.
But while most gathering at the statue are transfixed by the statue's new appearance on the outside.
Yeah, it's just sitting right there in the open.
Dale is most interested what's on the inside.
I don't know what it was. Something said, Dale, dig into the Lee Monument. There's something there.
Sifting through archives 3 years ago.
So I spent hours in the Library of Virginia just scrolling through microfilm newspapers.
The Richmonder discovered General Lee holds a secret.
Real exciting, oh my gosh.
And he has the documents to prove it.
My challenge was to figure out which one of these four cornerstones the time capsule may have been put in.
Dale says an engraved copper box was placed inside by the Masons in 1887.
They are. It's right over there in the corner. You don't need to take the pedestal down to get to it.
Inside, a possible treasure trove of relics.
You could take this time capsule out any time. It's right out here in the open.
The Super Sleuth says among 60+ Confederate artifacts, we may find one of the rarest relics in American history.
If this is the picture that's inside the time capsule, it is an irreplaceable, two-of-a-kind item.
An image of an assassinated President Abraham Lincoln lying in state.
So I kind of kept it under wraps, but now here it is right here. It's like, come on, man, we need to get that thing out of there.
The VCU graduate says only one other photo like it exists at the Lincoln Museum in Springfield, Illinois.
What if there's a second one inside that time capsule? It's irreplaceable. It needs to be in a museum.
Dale also believes the symbolism of bearing an image of the late president speaks volumes.
I think it sends a very clear message. Why there's a picture of an assassinated president inside a monument dedicated to the glorification of a Confederate general. I think it's a big middle finger to the North and Lincoln and what he stood for.
Monetarily, the photograph could be worth a fortune.
3 years ago, it was worth $300,000. Who knows how much it's worth now?
If the image does exist, historically, Dale says the artifact is priceless.
It's a buzz. And it's a buzz. It's something that I feel in my soul that thing is in there and it needs to come out, screaming to come out.
You can count Dale Brumfield as one who didn't believe the Lee statue's days would be numbered this soon.
If my calculations are correct, it's in here and nothing else needs to come down.
The curious Richmonder says if and when the monument is removed,
it's literally inches away.
we may finally get to the bottom of solving a 133-year-old mystery buried not so deep inside.
It's hidden right in plain sight, like many of Richmond's secrets, hidden in plain sight.
Long before the marches and demonstrations, a couple dedicated themselves to saving a historic black church. Mount Herman Presbyterian Church is located off of Route 360 in Amelia County. All but forgotten to history, the church was founded in 1882, but the last group of parishioners left the pews in the 1970s. The years since had not been kind until the church attracted the attention of contractors Beth and Jim Stanley, who gave this old chapel a complete transformation.
If it was bulldozed down, I mean, nobody would have ever known there was a church here.
It's very gratifying. You know, you feel like you're kind of a part of it now. You're a part of the history of this building.
Since this story first aired in July, a CBS 6 viewer decided to buy the church and move his entire congregation there. Performing during a pandemic, it hasn't been easy for those who make a living putting on a show. Just ask the local magician who has had to conjure up a few new tricks after something beyond his control made his loyal audience disappear.
When sidewalks second as your stage.
All right, almost ready to start the presentation.
You can perform just about anywhere.
Here in Carytown. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show of shows. Not for 1 second has it ever gotten old, and not for 1 second have I ever not looked forward to the next crowd.
Concrete in this neighborhood?
Carytown's a very, very special place here in Richmond.
Ranks as Jonathan Austin's...
But remember, the closer you look, the less you see.
Favorite.
Well, everybody see the card right here?
It was along Cary Street in 1985. The young entertainer got his start.
Been doing it a very long time, if you will.
Since then, Jonathan the Juggler...
Oh, look at that, 3 months of my life right there.
...has become one of the region's top performers.
It transforms into a $5. How well the show goes is contingent on how great the crowd is, and it's your job to get the crowd going.
From card tricks and juggling
$1
to magic.
Turned into a $100 bill.
But this month, Jonathan is redefining one-man show.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of ladies and gentlemen.
During the coronavirus pandemic,
unfortunately, it's not the best of times.
The magician's fans have vanished.
Count them out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the crowd goes wild.
With Richmonders quarantined,
that's right. Hello there.
Carytown is more like ghost town.
Unfortunately, I've not seen the likes of this, where it's virtually at a standstill.
The 49-year-old thrives on audience participation.
Well, this is when I pass the hat.
These days, admirers are staying far away.
Thank you, LA, rock on. I'd say human interaction is short of everything for me. Stop, drop, and roll.
The pandemic is also torching Jonathan's financial well-being.
Under the leg, go for it, bam. Right now, this is where I make a living each year, so definitely am hurting.
More than 50 paid gigs canceled, and that number is growing.
Whoa, throw me a fish, give me something. The biggest event is the Easter on Parade on Monument Avenue. Well, I guess there's no good time for something like this to happen, but unfortunately, spring is when I really get rocking and rolling.
For the man quick with a one-liner.
With the speed of a Kardashian marriage, it happens.
COVID-19 is no laughing matter.
For every high, there has to be a low. And unfortunately, we're reaching some lows right now, and a lot of us like me are reaching lows that they didn't see coming.
What hurts most?
And the crowd goes wild.
No one to make smile.
Right now, I miss most about life in general is human beings, being able to be around them and socialize and get positive energy from them and try to give some of it back.
But ever the optimist.
Is there no end to his capacity?
The entertainer is using the downtime to work on new material.
Watch the dog. Suddenly don't want a hot dog. Oh, the jokes get worse.
Jonathan Austin juggles the hardships, betting that brighter days and crowds...
That's the enthusiasm I'm looking for.
...will reappear.
We're going through a very rough time, but I do see hope
Because for this sidewalk performer,
Stop, drop,
the show
and roll.
must go on.
Thank you kindly, everybody. For how low it is now, it's going to be even higher when we all come back. Enjoy your stay here in Carytown. Till we meet again, I'm Jonathan Austin.
The coronavirus has forced people all over the world to get out of the office and work from home. The transition has been easier for some than others. One Henrico musician says he doesn't mind a solo jam session, but he's doing his best to keep the band together while adjusting to life off the road.
Sometimes it's so surreal because it's like, oh, well, I get to do what I love for a living.
Working from home.
For me, I mean, inspiration can sometimes hit at 2 in the morning or 7 in the morning.
Is nothing new to Devon Harris.
Like no clock to it, for me at least.
He immerses himself in music every day.
Oh man, very lucky. Sometimes too lucky.
The record producer, aka DJ Harrison, is overcoming quarantine one beat at a time. The Petersburg native is the founder of Jellostone Records.
The music scene, it's like a huge, like tight-knit community.
The studio is an outlet for talented artists across Virginia, including his own band, Butcher Brown. The group has released several albums and toured the nation.
Everyone's feeding off of everybody. Like, you know, everyone brings something to the table.
But Devon says the magic really happens when members jam in person.
When something sticks and when something hits, there's an energy in a room where everyone looks around, like no one has to say anything, but everyone's just like, yeah, yeah.
These days, the 5 musicians are keeping their distance. It's hardly stopping Butcher Brown from releasing new music on social media every week.
It's been going pretty well so far.
During the pandemic, members like bass player Andy Randazzo record chosen songs at home. Devon melds the melodies and blends the beats.
I'll put the keyboards on there, we'll put the guitars on there, and then the horns will come up.
The final creation, Mothership Mondays.
10 years ago, this would have been harder. 20 years ago, maybe impossible.
On this day, with Devon on keyboard, the band covers Nautilus by Bob James.
It's been cool to watch it unfold, especially as time's going on with the pandemic and everything.
Andy lends his video editing talents to the mix.
It wasn't new, but now it's very familiar.
The musicians say the weekly solo sessions sharpen skills and keep tracks tight.
At this point, we've come too far to turn back now.
The pandemic makes them appreciate jamming together.
I can't even imagine what the first rehearsal is gonna be like. People are gonna be so excited just to be back in the same room with everyone, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Everyone's gonna love getting back to doing things the way we used to.
Until that moment, members of Butcher Brown will play together, thanks to technology and the vision of a producer who is finding his groove right at home.
It's a great challenge. It's definitely a great challenge. I'm definitely happy to accept it.
We close tonight with 2 photographers who are trying to get people to look at animals and the environment through a whole new lens. Finding homes for dogs and cats was already difficult for the good folks at the Richmond Animal League, but in a pandemic, it became nearly impossible.
Hi, baby.
So Becky Huddleston decided to put her camera to work, the professional photographer going high and low to get the perfect shot in hopes that these pictures will capture the attention of a loving family.
Immense joy, immense joy. This is what makes me feel valuable.
Over the last decade, Becky has photographed nearly 3,000 shelter animals at no charge. And Frank Lee Ruggles used to serve his country in the United States Army. Now, he's on the front lines protecting our national parks. The photographer has crisscrossed the country from Acadia to Zion. His prints sell for thousands of dollars. Incredible considering his backstory. After an injury ended his military career, Frank's life spun out of control and he became homeless. Picking up a camera opened his eye to an entirely new world and gave his life a purpose.
If I were a singer, I would sing about the national parks. If I was a poet, I would write poetry about the national parks. I'm a photographer.
Frank is now in the process of retracing the steps of the legendary Ansel Adams, who famously photographed several national parks in 1941. You can see the complete versions of those stories and all of my I Have a Story segments anytime you want. They are now streaming. Just search WTVR Richmond on your digital device. Many thanks to all of the talented photographers who worked with me on these pieces that you just watched. And we are so indebted to those who allowed us to tell their stories. For everyone here at CBS 6, I'm Greg McQuade. Happy holidays.